Have you ever stopped to think that the greatest secrets of prosperity aren't found in modern finance books, but rather in a book written over 3,000 years ago? That's right. While many people chase after magic formulas, expensive courses, and promises of quick wealth, there exists a source of ancient wisdom that has guided prosperous men and women throughout entire generations. I'm talking about the Book of Proverbs, which contains timeless principles about achieving true prosperity. Think about this for a moment. Why do some people manage to prosper even when facing difficulties, while others are always struggling with debt and financial problems? The difference isn't just luck or circumstances, but the application of correct principles that govern prosperity. And these principles are clearly described in the pages of Scripture, especially in the Book of Proverbs. Today, you're going to discover the 7 secrets of prosperity hidden in the Book of Proverbs, principles that have been tested and proven for thousands of years. And I guarantee the 7th secret will completely surprise you, because it goes beyond what most people imagine when talking about financial prosperity. These aren't just abstract theological concepts, but practical truths you can apply immediately in your life. If you believe that biblical wisdom can transform your financial life, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now and hit the notification bell, because here you'll learn how to apply these biblical principles every day. This channel is dedicated to people who want to grow financially by following God's principles, and I'm sure you'll benefit greatly from this content. So let's start with the first secret, which might be the most fundamental of all for anyone who wants to truly prosper. The first secret is hard work and consistency. Proverbs is filled with verses that contrast the diligent with the lazy, clearly showing that prosperity comes through consistent and dedicated work. In Proverbs 10 verse 4, we read, "Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth." This verse couldn't be more direct. Diligence, which means being careful, dedicated, and consistent in work, is presented as the natural path to wealth. Another powerful verse is Proverbs 12 verse 24. "Diligent hands will rule, but laziness ends in forced labor." Here we see that those who work with dedication not only prosper but also assume positions of leadership and influence. On the other hand, those who are negligent end up becoming dependent on others. What's interesting is that Proverbs doesn't promise prosperity through quick schemes or miraculous shortcuts. The message is clear: consistency beats luck. A person who works diligently every day, even with small steps, will eventually surpass someone who depends only on sporadic opportunities or strokes of luck. Applying this in modern practice means you need to develop a solid work ethic, whether in your job, your business, or your studies. It means waking up every day and doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It means being that person others can count on to deliver consistent results. Tell me in the comments, do you consider yourself more disciplined or more of a procrastinator? Be honest, because recognizing where we are is the first step to growth. The second secret is to seek wisdom before wealth. Proverbs presents wisdom as more valuable than gold or any material treasure. In Proverbs 16 verse 16, we read, "How much better to get wisdom than gold, to get insight rather than silver." This verse reveals a profound truth. Wisdom is the most valuable asset you can possess. Why is wisdom more valuable than money? Because a wise person can rebuild their fortune even if they lose it, but a rich person without wisdom will easily waste everything they have. History is full of examples of people who inherited fortunes and lost them quickly due to lack of wisdom, just as there are examples of people who started from nothing and built empires through the application of knowledge and wisdom. Proverbs 4 verse 7 teaches us, "The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom, and whatever you get insight." Note that the text says, "whatever you get," showing that we should be willing to invest in knowledge and understanding, even if it costs money in the short term. Biblical wisdom isn't just intellectual knowledge, but the ability to make correct decisions in practical life. It's knowing when to invest and when to save, when to take risks and when to be cautious, when to speak and when to remain silent. It's the kind of understanding that comes from experience combined with God's eternal principles. In the modern era, this means continuously investing in your education, reading good books, seeking wise mentors, and especially studying Scripture to develop spiritual discernment. Remember, applied knowledge generates sustainable prosperity, while money without wisdom is temporary. The third secret is prudence in money management. Proverbs repeatedly teaches about the importance of planning before spending and being cautious with the resources God entrusts to us. In Proverbs 21 verse 5, we find, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." This verse directly connects planning with prosperity. Another crucial verse is Proverbs 27 verses 23 to 24. "Be sure you know the condition of your flocks, give careful attention to your herds, for riches do not endure forever, and a crown is not secure for all generations." Here we see the importance of actively monitoring our resources, knowing our financial situation in detail. Biblical prudence manifests in practice through a well-structured personal budget. This means knowing exactly how much money comes in and goes out of your account every month, categorizing your expenses, and making conscious decisions about where to invest each dollar. Many people live on financial autopilot, spending without planning and then wondering where the money went. Proverbs also warns us about the dangers of impulsive consumption. The prudent person thinks before buying, researches prices, considers whether they really need that item, and evaluates whether the purchase aligns with their long-term goals. They understand that each financial decision is a seed planted that will produce fruit in the future. Prudence also includes forming emergency reserves. Proverbs 6 verses 6 to 8 uses the example of the ant, which gathers food in summer to have during winter. Likewise, we should save resources during times of abundance to have security during difficult times. Do you usually write down your expenses, or do you still spend without planning? Tell me in the comments, because this is an area where many people need to improve. The fourth secret might surprise many: generosity. Proverbs presents generosity not as an obstacle to prosperity, but as a catalyst for it. In Proverbs 11 verse 25, we read, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." This is a profound spiritual principle that goes against the natural human logic of accumulating for oneself. Proverbs 19 verse 17 declares, "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done." What a powerful statement. When we help those in need, God himself becomes our debtor and guarantees that we will receive back. This doesn't mean we should be generous just to receive, but that genuine generosity is a principle that generates prosperity. Proverbs 22 verse 9 adds, "The generous will themselves be blessed, for they share their food with the poor." The generous person is one who sees needs around them and acts with compassion. They are blessed not only financially, but in all areas of life. Why does generosity generate prosperity? First, because it frees us from greed and selfishness, which are spiritual traps that block the flow of abundance. Second, because it creates a network of positive relationships and goodwill that eventually returns in the form of opportunities and blessings. Third, because it demonstrates our trust in God as provider, and this faith is rewarded. Biblical generosity isn't financial irresponsibility. It doesn't mean giving away everything you have and being left with nothing. It means giving proportionally and wisely, always maintaining balance between caring for your own family and blessing others. It means developing a generous heart that finds joy in being a channel of blessing in other people's lives. True abundance flows when we're not greedy, when we understand that we are stewards and not absolute owners of the resources God entrusts to us. The fifth secret is to avoid debt and financial slavery. Proverbs 22 verse 7 contains one of the clearest statements about debt in all of Scripture. "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." This verse reveals the spiritual and practical reality of debt. It creates relationships of servitude and dependency. When you owe money, you don't have complete freedom to make decisions. You need to consider your creditors in every choice you make. You can't simply leave a job you hate if you have payments to make. You can't invest in opportunities that arise if your income is already committed to debt payments. In the modern world, this applies perfectly to irresponsible use of credit cards, personal loans, unnecessary financing, and any form of debt that isn't for acquiring productive assets. Many people become slaves to their own lifestyle, working only to pay bills for things they bought impulsively. Proverbs doesn't condemn all forms of debt, but warns about its dangers. If you're going to go into debt, Let it be to acquire something that will generate income or appreciate over time, like quality education, work equipment, or a well-located property. But even in these cases, prudence should govern the decision. Financial freedom begins with freedom from debt. When you owe nothing to anyone, you have many more options and flexibility to make decisions that truly benefit your family and long-term goals. You can be more generous, you can take calculated risks in investments, you can even work less if you choose a simpler lifestyle. The sixth secret is honesty in business. Proverbs repeatedly emphasizes the importance of integrity in commercial relationships. In Proverbs 11 verse 1, we read, "The Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him." In the ancient context, using dishonest scales was a common way to cheat customers, and God condemns this practice severely. Proverbs 20 verse 23 reinforces, "The Lord detests differing weights, and dishonest scales do not please him." The repetition of this message shows how much God values honesty in commercial transactions. He cares about how we treat our customers, partners, and suppliers. Why does honesty generate prosperity? First, because it builds reputation and trust, which are the most valuable assets in the business world. Satisfied customers become loyal customers and refer other customers. Reliable suppliers offer better terms. Honest partners create lasting relationships. Second, because integrity protects us from legal problems and complications that can quickly destroy a business. When you operate with transparency and honesty, you sleep peacefully knowing there are no time bombs waiting to explode. Third, because honesty attracts God's blessing upon our enterprises. Proverbs 10 verse 9 declares, "Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but whoever takes crooked paths will be found out." The security that comes from integrity is a type of prosperity that goes beyond money. In the modern world, this means not evading taxes, not deceiving customers about products or services, honoring contracts and commitments, paying suppliers on time, and treating employees fairly. It means choosing the harder path when it's the right one, trusting that God will honor our integrity in the long run. Have you seen cases of people trying to make money by taking shortcuts, cheating, or being dishonest, and then losing everything? Write here in the comments because I'm sure you know examples like that. Now we come to the seventh and final secret, the one I promised would surprise you: fearing God above money. This is the fundamental principle that governs all the others. Proverbs 1 verse 7 establishes the foundation. "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge." If wisdom is more valuable than gold, and the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, then fearing God is literally the beginning of prosperity. Proverbs 22 verse 4 directly connects the fear of the Lord with material rewards. "Humility is the fear of the Lord. Its wages are riches and honor and life." Note that riches come together with honor and life, showing that biblical prosperity is holistic, not just financial. But what does it mean to fear God in the context of prosperity? It means recognizing that God is the true owner of everything, and we are just stewards. It means making financial decisions considering biblical principles, not just maximum profit. It means understanding that our identity and security aren't in money, but in our relationship with God. Proverbs 15 verse 16 declares, "Better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil." This verse reveals that it's possible to have a lot of money and be miserable, just as it's possible to have little money and be truly prosperous. The difference lies in God's presence in our life. When we properly fear God, money becomes a tool to fulfill greater purposes, not a final goal. We start using our resources to glorify God, bless our family, help those in need, and advance God's kingdom. Money stops being an idol and becomes a servant. This fear also protects us from greed, dishonesty, exploitation of others, and all the sins that destroy not only our financial prosperity but our soul. It gives us eternal perspective on temporal decisions. Which of these 7 secrets moved you the most today? Was it the first one about hard work and consistency? The second about seeking wisdom? The third about financial prudence? The fourth about generosity? The fifth about avoiding debt? The sixth about honesty in business? Or the seventh about fearing God above money? Write here in the comments which one touched your heart the most, because I'm going to read all the comments and respond personally. To conclude, I want to give you a quick summary of these 7 secrets of prosperity we found in the Book of Proverbs. First, hard work and consistency, because consistency beats luck. Second, wisdom before wealth, because applied knowledge generates sustainable prosperity. Third, prudence in money use through conscious planning and budgeting. Fourth, generosity, because a generous soul prospers and whoever waters will be watered. Fifth, avoid debt and financial slavery, remembering that the borrower becomes slave to the lender. Sixth, honesty in business, because integrity generates trust and lasting prosperity. And seventh, fear God above money, recognizing that He is the true owner of everything. These aren't just financial advice. They're life principles that have been tested for thousands of years and continue working today. They worked for kings and merchants of the past, and they'll work for you if you apply them with faith and consistency. If you want to continue growing with biblical principles of prosperity, go ahead and like this video so more people can discover these timeless secrets. Share this video with someone who needs this message of hope and wisdom. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next content, because we always have more practical biblical wisdom to share. Remember, true prosperity isn't just having a lot of money. It's having God's blessing on your life, peace in your home, health in your body, healthy relationships, and the satisfaction of fulfilling the purpose God has for you. When you seek first God's kingdom and His righteousness, all other things will be added to you. May God bless you abundantly.